Hello everyone, thanks for watching. In this video I'm going to go through some tips you can use when you play 1 versus 1 in Settlers of Catan. This is the first tip to cut your opponent off. You can use this throughout the whole game. You can also use it at the very beginning. I have sometimes done this to others and people have done it to me, where you place your second placement on wood and brick so that you immediately cut your opponent off in the beginning. This is really good because it slows your opponent down, and also it's a high chance that your opponent will not be able to build 15 roads, making it harder to get the longest road in the end. So and if you can cut your opponent off in mid game too, that's awesome. If you can just slice through the map, the area, so that you can more likely get the longest road, that is really good. So think about this when you place your settlements, and also in the beginning, and also where you decide to build during the game. So the next tip is to save up. This is if you are racing for the same spot. And meaning you'd have to build one road and one settlement to get to where you want to go, and you know that your opponent is doing the same. The good thing about saving up in 1 versus 1 is that you have friendly robber, meaning even if you save several rounds, you won't risk them stealing your resources. And even if you end up getting to the discard limit, you can just exchange 4 for 1 to get the resource that you need, that you're lacking, and then keep saving up. So there's no harm in saving up. The only thing is maybe your opponent gets to this spot before you, but I think it's worse to build a road in the direction you want, and then someone comes and builds where you want it to go. So and oftentimes in 1 versus 1 you will be racing for some of the same spots. So save up and then build your road and settlement to secure that you will get what you were trying to get. The next tip, that is if you are actually not saving up for or not racing for the same spot. If you know that you will have time to get to the place you want to get to, then it could be good to get a dev card before building a city or building a settlement. And with dev card, I actually mean getting a knight, because as soon as you build that city or settlement and get the 3rd point, then your opponent can start blocking you. The friendly robber will be out of the way. And I've played games where I was the first one to get another city or settlement, and then I just got blocked a lot, while my opponent couldn't be blocked because they had only 2 points but were getting lots of death cards. So if you're not racing, get a knight and then start building stuff. Okay, so the next tip is make sure you're the one who gets 7 knights the fastest. There are 14 knights altogether, so you need 7 knights to have the largest army in the long run, and you have to be the first one to get 7 knights. So I like to compare to a 4-player game because that's more standard. And in a 4-player game, you can win the game or have the largest army with just 3 knights. Not very likely, but you could in theory. So, if you have 4 or 5 knights and your opponents have maybe 1 each, 2 each, then you're pretty safe. But in 1 versus 1, you're not safe until you have 7 knights. You can have 6 knights and think that you've secured the largest army. But in the end, if your opponent ends up buying the rest of the dev cards, they will get the largest army. So just be aware of this. You're not safe because you only have 1 opponent. The next tip is think about where you're building your roads. You might be doing really well building in lots of different directions, getting lots of settlements, and that can be a good strategy. But also remember, your opponent might be building roads systematically, getting 15 connected roads in the end, and then there's no way you'll win that back. I was playing the other day with someone who had 12 roads, and it was looking really dark. Like, I had built roads in two different directions, and it didn't look like I would ever get the road back, but I noticed that if I built 3 roads and connected my roads and then continued building 2 roads at the end, I would actually get 13 roads. So what I decided to do was, I didn't reveal this right away, because then my opponent would have built roads in the correct direction, but my opponent decided to build 3 roads in totally different directions so that he could get more settlements. And then when my opponent had 12 roads max, like he couldn't build any more, then I decided to go for connecting my roads, and I had 13. And my opponent didn't have a clue that that was on my agenda, didn't think about it at all, didn't think that I was able to win it back, because they were so far ahead. But in the end, that's what counts. So you can get the longest road at the very end. Even if they have 14 roads, you can get that 15th road. So if you want to get it, make sure that you build your roads smart. I like to try to build it so that it's all connected into one long 15 road combo. Okay, so it's no secret that you should be getting ports, but it's easy to forget it because the whole map is just divided into where it's I mean, you're just competing with one person, so you have lots of spots to build, and it's really good to get spots in the center, getting lots of resources, and then just keep building roads and settlements all over the place. And I end up doing that a lot because I get carried away trying to get the best spots. But just remember, at some point you will need to get ports, so don't forget to get ports, because in the end that is actually one of the key factors to winning the game. The same thing is for cities. Cities are great, but it's easy to kind of just race for the good spots on the map, getting more settlements. So just remember that you should be getting cities as well. And just doing a good combo of all the things that I've been talking about. There's also other tips for 1 versus 1, but these are the ones that I have for now, which I think are the core ones so that you can win 1 versus 1 games. So good luck with your 1 versus 1 games, and thanks for watching.